So what does it actually mean to be high status? You know, nowadays more than ever, there are so many different ideas and paradigms about what a high status male actually is. I mean, and there's so many models out there. You can take Dr. David Hawkins' levels of consciousness model. You could take Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And there's so many different pockets of men in the manosphere, which is something I'll talk about in a second, about telling you what it means to be a high status male. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a framework that you can apply and use in the relationship context that is driven by thousands of years of evolutionary psychology and variables and components I've seen that other high status men that have the life that you want utilize on a subconscious level every single day to gain the life they want, to be in the relationships that last their lifetime. All right, let's jump in. All right, so the model I'm using here is called the high status matrix. As you can see, there are two planes. There's a vertical axis, which has to do with your self-esteem, your self-worth, and there is the horizontal axis, which has to do with your attachment style. I talked about attachment style in a previous video. You can check that out in my video playlist. You'll see that on attachment styles. But on the very top, you have pride, arrogance, thinking you're better than your wife and other people. On the bottom, you have shame, which is, I'm a bad person, I'm worse than others. On the horizontal axis, on the attachment styles, you have avoidant attachment style, which is constantly just trying to avoid people, not go towards problems, thinking again, that I'm better than everyone else. I can just avoid my problems, not get close to people, not let them hurt me. On the other end, you're extremely anxious. This has to do with you being a nice guy, begging, pleading, always riddled with anxiety when you are threatening losing a relationship. Now, the idea here is that you want to find the sweet spot is right in the center. This is where a high status man lives, right? Right here. Not better than others, not worse, just as equal. And you have a secure attachment style. When you combine both of these, you create what's known as what I call the apex male. This is a guy who is so high status that his value just oozes off in every social interaction. He feels so content with who he is that he's so filled up that he just offers value to other people because he is worth so much himself. This is that kind of guy that walks into the room full of charisma and people are drawn to him like a magnet. Now in this video, I'm not going to go over why you are one way or another. I have plenty of videos doing that. I'm just going to tell you what these pockets look like with different actions and behaviors, give you examples and how to embody this guy. So I'm going to do this through something called the Manosphere. Now, if you don't know what the Manosphere is, it's basically a different pocket of men's development groups, specifically in the context of dating and relationships. Each of these people have a belief that their paradigm of viewing the world, women, and relationships, and yourself is optimal to be happy. But I'm going to tell you through lots of experience that it's very flawed based on this model, okay? And actually produces a lot of negative results. So the first one is people who have low sense of self-worth and are extremely anxious. This is known as the typical blue-pilled person. A blue-pilled person is the nice guy that's been sold the fairy tale that women are perfect and I'll do anything for her. And this is known in the internet terminology as a simp, right? Someone who's bending over backwards for their wife. Or a girl in a relationship. So what this looks like is you're consistently giving her money all the time for no reason. You're trying to buy her gifts to make her happy. You're doing her all these favors and you're compromising who you are and your boundaries as a man just to make her happy. You are afraid of conflict, hence the anxiety. Now what happens here is that when you operate in the blue pill space as a nice guy, she loses respect for you, she gets bored, and there's no challenge, so she wants to leave you. Women need challenge. And this guy loses respect, and if a girl doesn't respect you, she's not going to be with you. On the other end of the extreme, we have avoidant personality and shame. This is known as an incel. Incels or black pill community, if you want to talk about the manosphere terminology. So an incel basically believes that he is worse than other people. He is low on the status hierarchy, that he's not good enough, and he completely avoids all women. So they adopt the beliefs that women only choose, let's say, men that are over 6 foot tall, with millions of dollars, and they're only going to date these high status guys, and there's no chance for them, right? This comes from a fundamental belief that they're just not good people, that they have a lot of trauma, they have low sense of self-worth, and so they avoid dating altogether. They don't even try because the fear of rejection is just crippling to them. So they completely give up on life. This is a man who just doesn't even want to try, becomes depressed, and just blames society for everything. Pretty much the opposite of what I stand for here in my channel, right, and who I am. I'm pretty sure that majority of you do not fall into this category. I'm sure a lot of you fall into this category, or we're going to talk about one of these two categories next, okay? So the next one is pride with avoidance. Now, in the Manosphere, this is a guy in the MGTOW community. So MGTOW essentially means men going their own way. So a lot of these are all based in trauma, by the way. okay? Trauma is a response to something that happens to you, and you adopt new beliefs to protect yourself in the reality. Now, everyone in the MGTOW community has always been through a divorce, been cheated on, been screwed over by a woman. Now, instead of taking responsibility that their actions led to the trauma and seeing the truth behind it, they choose to adopt the beliefs, especially now in the internet age, you can find confirmation of any belief you have, that women are all solipsistic, that they're always going to be advantageous, looking for the best next thing, and that a woman's always going to leave you for a better man. So they think, you know what, screw women in general, I'm not going to even try, I'm better than them, I don't need that. So you can see how the pride works with that, and there's an avoidant personality style, how they just choose to avoid women completely. Incels, they feel like they can't even talk to women if they tried. MGTOW, they believe that, I'm choosing to opt out of dating altogether because the juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's how they work it out in their mind, and they operate out of fear. Pride is a false sense of insecurity, right? It's placing yourself above others to think that you are better, even though it's not. And it produces a lot of anger within the person that adopts that belief. Other key characteristics that I want to point out to you with the bottom right quadrant is a sense of desperation and manipulation. The bottom left quadrant is categorized by withdrawal and depression. The top right is all about control and anger. A lot of these guys are very bitter towards women. They're angry, and they have a giant confirmation bias and a delusion that some things like all women are evil. You have like feminists on the right side who've been cheated by men who can't get screwed over. It's like all men are evil. It's a patriarchy. It's the same thing with these guys, but just on the other extreme. Now, on the top left quadrant, these guys are known as, I have red, but I have to go get it, so I'm just gonna say it, but red pill, okay, in the red pill community in the Manosphere. So a lot of these men, they will still complain about women and say, this is the truth about women. They adopt the same beliefs as these MGTOW men. However, when it comes to their actions they take, they're actually more anxious around women. So a lot of these guys in this space, they'll complain about women. They'll say you need to be a high status male. They'll preach a lot of positive things about being better than women, that men, what's some of the words they use? Just women don't have a lot to give you except for sex. And women are just always out to get the highest quality guy. But at least in their defense, they're taking action on it, because anxiety produces fear, and at least that's action, where withdrawal is avoidance. But the reason this comes into a negative effect in their life is that because they have anxiety and because they have these beliefs about women that they're better than them, they're only attracting women that they spout out in their beliefs. So a really common phrase that kind of consolidates this idea is that the only thing you have in common with the woman you date is you. So because they think all women are going to be cheaters, because they think all women are going to be solipsistic and be to take advantage and opportunistic, they only attract women from low self-worth. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And they're mired in these ideas, and they think that there's no other option out there. And there's a false sense of pride around it as well. That if you watch enough red pill content, you'll see that there is a subtle way of demeaning women. And, one of the concepts is you have to spin constant plates. And there's nothing wrong with dating multiple women at once, but they espouse that if you're not doing that, one of them is eventually going to leave you anyways, and you're going to be left abandoned. And this comes from an insecure, deep place that if you're alone and you're not dating women, you're low value. So those are different pockets, different quadrants that are all insecure. Now, a high status man embodies the central point. So let's read off some of the qualities about this guy that you want to adopt. So step number 1, this man does not see women as better or worse. They're just differences. Okay. So when rejection occurs within a high status man, he thinks we just weren't a good match. There's nothing I did wrong. There's nothing she did wrong. We just weren't a good match. The red pill guy will be like, well, her loss, you didn't see how great I am. The MGTOW guy wouldn't even try. The Incel guy wouldn't even try. And the blue pill guy would be like, well, maybe I need to give her more money. I don't know, right? Or the guy in the center, the apex male, he deals with rejection by saying, well, it just wasn't a good match. It just is what it is. Move on. When it comes to boundaries, this guy over here, the blue pill guy, as we said before, is extremely anxious. He's passive. He's manipulative. He'll do things under the guise of being nice, but really he has a covert contract, a manipulation, an indirect form of you should give me what I want if I give you what you want. The apex male, on the other hand, he gives things because he's high value and he just likes providing and giving with no strings attached. Also, the apex male has an assertive way of getting his needs met. He isn't overly controlling and aggressive, setting up ultimatums, but he isn't passive about it. He's saying, this is my boundaries, this is who I am, you can respect it or you cannot. It's being very assertive, not passive, not aggressive, but assertive. When problems occur in the relationship context, he doesn't immediately completely avoid and shut off and block or talk to other women or do things that are kind of schemy, but he doesn't also become super needy and begging. If there's a problem in the relationship, he takes a posture of curiosity. He takes responsibility for his partner. He tries to understand the other person's point of view. And because he takes responsibility first, there's a law of reciprocity and complete mutual understanding. And that mutual understanding creates compromise, right? Which builds the relationship esteem with you and your partner. Now, I can go into depth about all these different factors a lot more, but essentially I just wanted you to have an overall framework of what a high status male actually is. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I can help you become this man if you're struggling with it for many years. Now, if you need additional support and really navigating this framework and understanding what behaviors are truly high status and why on a core fundamental level you've been held back in your beliefs about why you are not that guy, and how to step into that high status man every single day and how to operate in that world from that place, what you can do right now is you go into the description down below in the YouTube link, and there is a link down there. You can set up a free call with me or my marriage evaluator. Show that you are committed because we only have a few spots every single week. Fill out the application, pick a time. What we'll do is you'll get on a call with me or my marriage evaluator, and we'll tell you exactly through your behaviors and these values and beliefs that you hold that are preventing you from getting the life you want. Once you can see that clear picture, you know how to alter it to become the man that you want to be, to get your wife back, to have the life that you want to live. Thanks for watching the video. Press like if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new here. I come up with videos every single day, and I'll see you in the next one.